everybody. Today is Thursday, May 28th, 2026, and this is the meeting of the Bolton Select Board. It is 7 p.m. and we have a quorum, so we can go ahead and get started.
You messed me up.
If you're not talking, if you could please make sure your microphone is muted, that would be great. The first item on our agenda is considering a request from AgCom to appoint a new member. Do we have anybody here from AgCom?
Yes, we have Kevin Matchnick.
Hi, Kevin. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. So do you want to give us just a little update on what's going on with AgCom?
Sure. Yeah. Hoping that Amber would be here to introduce herself as well, but I don't see her on the call. So we've got 3 members right now. We've got seats for 5. We'd like to recommend Amber Thompson to join AgCom. She's a member of the agricultural community here in Bolton, raises animals. She's been joining our meetings for the past few months and has been participating, which has been great. She's excited to be part of the commission and contribute to our goals.
Well, that's great. It's wonderful to hear that there's another interested person who wants to join. As you know, it's been one of the select board goals to kind of reconstitute AgCom and get it up and running, and you guys have been doing a great job of doing that. So I don't have any questions. I don't know if any other members of the board do.
I'm good.
Kevin, I'm sorry, will this put you at 4 or 5 members?
This puts us at 4 now. We've
At
got
4.
3.
Okay.
Yeah, right now.
Do you have any other candidates that have expressed interest?
We do. We have another person that joined our last meeting. I
Okay.
didn't get it all together in time to add her to this call, so
Okay.
I'll reach out to Jenny to get her added to a future agenda.
Great, thanks.
Oh, that'll be fabulous. And I don't see that Amber is here still, but I think we can go ahead without her. I'm certainly grateful to her for volunteering. Is there a motion to approve the appointment of Amber Thompson to the Agricultural Commission for a 3-year term expiring on June 30th, 2028?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Bill,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. Kevin, thank you very much for being here and working to expand your board to fullness.
Great, thank you.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
Kevin.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is 2 public hearings for liquor license amendments. We are going to do these as 2 entirely separate public hearings. Is there anybody here from Neshoba Valley Spirits?
Yes, I see Rich in the waiting room.
Okay, great.
How about that? Took me a minute to unmute myself.
Hi, Rich. How are you?
Good, not too bad.
Good. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. Is there a motion to open the public hearing on the petition of Neshoba Valley Spirits Ltd. at 100 Wattaquatic Hill Road to amend its hours of operation on its liquor license to include 10 a.m. to noon on Sundays?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Brian,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. Just so the public is aware, this is as the result of an article that was passed at our most recent annual town meeting that allows the select board to consider expanding hours for companies that hold liquor licenses to expand their hours of operations by 2 hours on Sundays. So Rich, do you have anything that you wanted to add or anything you want to let us know about what's going on up at up at the winery?
Nope, still trying to get by and survive, and keeps getting tougher. That's all.
Yeah. If we grant the license, are you gonna be opening for brunch at 10 a.m.?
We actually already do open for brunch at 10 a.m., but this will allow us to serve alcoholic beverages at that time.
Great, okay. Any questions or comments from the board?
None for me.
Nope, none for me. The materials looked like they were in order as far as I could tell.
Yep. Is there anyone here from the public who has any questions or comments? Please go ahead and raise your hand. I'm not seeing any comments. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second,
Okay, roll call, Bill,
Yes.
Brian,
yes.
and I am also a yes. That being said, is there a motion to approve the petition of Neshoba Valley Spirits to amend their hours of operation on their liquor license to include 10 a.m. to noon on Sundays?
So moved.
Second,
Okay, roll call, Brian,
yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. Thank you, Rich, for being here.
No problem. Thank you guys for having us, and thanks for continued support. Appreciate it.
Okay, take care.
Bye now.
Before we move into our next hearing, I do just want to acknowledge that I see Amber Thompson is here. Just want to quickly let you know that we have already approved your appointment to the Agricultural Commission, and we're very excited and to have you on board and thankful to you for volunteering.
Happy to help.
All right, we look forward to seeing you soon. Take care. Okay, moving to our next public hearing. Is there a motion to open the public hearing on the petition of Bolton Exchange DBA Oak and Orchard to amend their hours of operation of their liquor license to include 10 a.m. to noon on Sundays?
So moved.
Second,
A roll call, Bill,
Yes.
Brian,
yes.
and I am also a yes. I don't see that we have a representative here from Oak and Orchard at this point.
I did just call the restaurant and they're looking for him, and hopefully he'll be joining soon. I was actually gonna suggest letting Amber introduce herself, but you beat me to the punch.
So should we suspend the public hearing and then reopen it until he gets here?
I think we could probably do that.
Okay, is there a motion to suspend the public hearing for Bolton Exchange pending
So
its
moved.
representative?
Second that.
Okay, roll call, Brian,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. So we will move on to our next agenda item, which is our always happy item from Bolton Access TV and Nikki McGatchy. How are you, Nikki? Good. How are things at Bolton Access TV? You must be getting ready for Neshoba graduation. Great, thank you. So do you want to tell us what you're here for this evening?
That might be
Awesome.
580 Main Street, maybe. Mhm.
All right, any questions from the board for Nikki?
None for me.
No, just note of thanks for all the help that you guys did for the town meeting as always.
All right, is there a motion to approve the release of the Q1 franchise fee and capital payment for Bolton Access Television totaling $22,847.59 from the PEG account?
So moved.
Second that.
Roll call, Brian,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. Nikki, thank you for everything and thank you for being here tonight. Take care. All right, Jenny, do we have anybody here yet from Oak and Orchard? Oh, it looks like we do. Is there a motion to reopen the public hearing on the petition of Bolton Exchange to amend their hours of operation?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Brian,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. Hi, Charlie, how are you?
Hi, good. Sorry, I'm a little late.
No worries. Glad you were able to join us.
Thank you for having me.
Do you want to just give us a quick thumbnail sketch of why you're here tonight?
Yes, so we obviously I went to the town meeting as well, but we were looking to extend our hours of our liquor license, where we're doing brunch now on Sundays. So we were looking to bring that from 12 to 10 on Sundays and modify those hours.
Okay, great. Any questions from the board?
I just had one technical question, which maybe is best directed to Jenny. Just that in the materials from Neshoba, I think I saw listed out like what they were planning to send to the ABCC, but I didn't see that in Mr. Mickles' materials, but he's just said now he wants to do it from 10 to noon. But is there anything else we need procedurally, or are we all set?
No, the only thing we need is a list of all of the hours of operation of the liquor license that's being requested.
Okay. And did we have that?
Okay,
Not yet.
Okay.
you'll have it tonight.
Excellent.
Great.
Okay, so would we need a vote
And
pending?
so just, for us, it's the hours that we had, but we're just going from noon to 10 on Sundays, but everything else will stay the same. But I'll list those out every day.
Yeah, I can send the materials over as they are, but the ABCC will most likely reach out to you and ask you to prepare this. So it's better to just get it in advance and send it as a complete package.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
so we don't need it for our approval, Jenny?
No, we don't.
Okay. All right, any other questions from the board? All right, are there any members of the public who have any questions or comments? If so, please raise your hand. And I am not seeing anyone, so is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Okay, roll call, Bill,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. And is there a motion to approve the petition of Bolton Exchange to amend their hours of operation on their liquor license to include 10 a.m. to noon on Sundays?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Bill,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. All right, thank you very much, Mr.
Thank
Mickle.
you.
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it.
Best of luck.
Looking forward
Thank
to
you.
brunch.
Thank you, Jenny.
Take care. Okay, having already taken care of Bolton Access TV, we're a little bit early, but I will still open it up now for public comment. We're not that early. Any public comment? Okay, not seeing any, we will move on to the town administrator's report. Marie. You're muted.
6 years later. All right. It's a longer report. The main two things I just wanted to highlight are that the DPW director has had amazing success in working through a culvert list that Ty and Bond had compiled in, I want to say 22, and basically walking through from the very top of high priority all the way down. For just jumping to culverts, the Main Street culvert, which was funded through an ARPA pass-through from the legislature, was extended officially, and there will be the 25% review. Forbush Culvert 1 has secured $1.8 million of funding, completely covering the construction cost. Not to be confusing, the first culvert we've done on Forbush, but some of you may have admired, is actually Forbush Culvert number 2. We'll be working on Forbush Culvert number 1. And that is also listed further on in the select board as we seek an easement. Forbush Culvert number 2 will be having its final inspection with FEMA MEMA, and then I'll also be working with Congresswoman Trahan's office, who would like to have a photo opportunity based on her assistance in getting us the federal funding. The Green Road culvert had also been approved. The Mass DOT will be performing the design. And so if you think back to the other culverts where we've spent maybe 200 to 400K on design, this is yet another amazing win. The not so great win is that we are still working on the temporary water disinfection. And there had been some hurdles, some drops in water pressure, and there will be ongoing monitoring of the pressure this weekend, and then a sort of all heads together status meeting next week. We're appreciative of both the public safety building staff, the police and fire, as well as the library for dealing with any interruptions, as well as the low pressure. The legislation-related update I've kept the board apprised of, but as of Tuesday, the House has recommended our special act alcohol to a third reading. The DCAM land, which was based on the local approval received at the town meeting, I want to say 2024, was recently altered. An additional section had been added. That section 6 extends the offer to the town of Lancaster to acquire the parcels for a nominal fee. Bolton's hurdle, should we wish to acquire the parcels when DCAM divests them, would be a 180-day clock and the actual assessed value. This has been referred also to the Committee on Senate Ways and Means, and everyone at the legislature is operating under the large clock before the end of the legislative session. You may have noticed the news and announcements about Wilder Road paving. Again, kudos to the DPW, who has been publicizing this, as well as putting flyers in the mailboxes of all residents who were affected. And I also shared that with the board. For Bower Brook, we are waiting on the Mass Trails determination, whether they've successfully secured funding, as well as waiting to see if the environmental bond bill is finalized. There is an earmark that had passed in the first session package, and that would likewise be able to cover the cost of the project, i.e. then the appropriation at town meeting from capital stabilization wouldn't be necessary. I want to thank the police department, the fire department, and Park and Rec for Monday's Memorial Day commemoration, and likewise thank the select board for attending. The two chiefs had relayed how nice it was to see the board there. I'm continuing ongoing discussions with neighboring towns for the town accountant job sharing. And the town has procured through the work of the DPW staff and as well as the admin a 3-year cleaning contract for custodial services across all town buildings with M&M. This indeed is lower than what we are currently paying, and it is a fixed rate for the next 3 years. So it's the happy story of procurement where you do all this work and it actually pays off. Higher quality and lower cost. The library is deep in preparations for summer reading, and I'm working with the director in compiling an estimate for a Mass Office on Disability for auto openers for their vestibule sort of glass airlock. The police continue their background reviews, and this week they had also received the replacement cruiser of fiscal 26. This is the cruiser then in the allocation that was approved at the town meeting last year. So you can see the lead time, but this was finally delivered this week. The Director of Planning has relayed that the Alta project is at 30% occupancy. She too is submitting a one-stop grant to the state for the stormwater erosion control regulations. In effect, the planning board is working through all of their items under their purview in the master plan. And after notification from a resident and conferring with the planning director, it submitted the letter that was in your packet and additional materials regarding the 61A project on Sargent Road. That letter, in effect, restarts the clock following a revision of an offer that would be in conformance. Meeting with the Park and Rec Commission chair yesterday, she'd relayed that they had secured Alta Neshoba sponsorship for their entire summer concert series, approximately valued at $5,000. The rec coordinator has submitted the application for camp certification to Neshoba Board of Health, and I haven't yet found out whether this morning's weekday community walking event went well. Wanted to draw public attention, though, that they are still seeking applicants for the assistant camp director. More information is available on the town's website under jobs. The town clerk has been equally busy post-town meeting, having submitted all required language to the AG's office and then turning back to dog licensing. As of June 1st, which is right around the corner, they'll begin adding the $100 failure to license fee to the approximately 95 dogs as of this afternoon who have not been renewed. These owners have already had a $50 late fee added. This change in the fines was what was approved at the town meeting of 2025. They also wanted to convey if residents are unsure if their dog license is up to date, please contact the clerk's office. They're very happy to help. A few upcoming meetings, Park and Rec meeting on Tuesday morning at 9:30. The following Monday, the Transfer Station Committee will be meeting at 7, and the Tuesday after that, Advisory will be meeting at 6:30. I also bolded, I hope the board has highlighted in your own personal calendars that Tuesday, the 14th of July, is the end of your transfer meeting. I know Jenny has alerted you that you need to address or sign the bond anticipation notes. They were issued at a much lower interest rate than what my worst fears had been. We'd been carrying 3.5. I've been tracking muni bond rates, even though absolutely helpless to do anything about that. But a local bank has provided a great rate for this rollover. In reference to prior meetings, just some more documentation. FEMA gave us the formal notice that they have accepted our hazard mitigation plan, and the regional Minuteman has certified their excess and deficiency. No change to our bottom line. You've recently been receiving, under separate cover from our contracted accountant, the reports in terms of expenses to date. The last report that you had received notably had 3 remaining warrants. At that time, and I don't know if you've had a chance to peruse it though, there are some foreseeable accounts in large to very large deficit. The most notable is the snow and ice deficit, which we're looking at 635. Again, this is typically a deficit that lives in the 400 to 450,000. Our utility expense, because we're sort of a month behind, is already increasingly high for the public safety building as well as the town hall and the library. Our town buildings and town buildings maintenance is at $415. And so I know that the DPW is pulling together some invoices for the reserve fund transfer meeting on the 9th, specifically to address the town buildings. And our legal account, where we have not yet received the invoice for May, has an $8,400 balance. So not all is great. With regards to town buildings, because there have been some additional issues with the compressor at the public safety building. Remember that we'd also added additional monies for fiscal 27, an additional 45K, because my hope is let us not ever be in this position again. The 2026 EQV, equalized valuations, it's like a indicator of the community's relative wealth. It affects the amount of Chapter 70 aid that the district would be receiving, as well as sort of used for other school funding formulas and various other flavors of formula. It is in effect to show our entire property wealth. Maybe not the most valid thing because it doesn't actually reflect, though, our ability to pay. But our proportional wealth increased slightly, although Lancaster's proportional wealth is increasing faster. And I had met
Marie,
with,
can I just ask a question on that? Does that impact our budget for that we just passed? Or is
for
the school funding for their Chapter 70 money?
that would be for the upcoming year. So they do equalized valuations every 2 years. And so the number that had been plugged in for how much money Neshoba received on behalf of Bolton was based on our 2024 valuation for 2 years. And now how much money they receive on behalf of us will be slightly tweaked up for this coming year, 27, as well as 28. There's always a lag. And then I had the opportunity to meet with Ross Mulcairn, and we went through the idea of changes to the wastewater treatment facility, expense sharing. They'd made some suggested edits. It is on my plate then, due to other things creeping up to review. And that's kind of all I have.
Well, that was a lot. Thank you. Any questions from the board on any of?
No, just appreciated the update and thanks for all the backup material that you sent along.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Marie, is the police cruiser completely outfitted in service, or is there?
It is
still-
outfitted. I need to just confirm if it's been added to our insurance.
Ah,
Yes,
Great.
it arrived on Tuesday.
great.
Okay, moving on to select board business. I do have a couple of public service announcements. The first of which is that the Neshoba Valley Pride Festival is this Saturday, May 30th. The parade starts at 1 o'clock from Emerson, and the festival will then continue on the Common until 4 o'clock. We also have this year's first Backyard Bolton coming up on June 6th from 10 to 3. I was wondering whether the select board had interest or availability to attend. I can plan to attend, but if we're all going to be there, we could maybe post it as a meeting.
I will. What's the date again? I'm sorry.
June 6th.
Yes, I will be there.
If I'm able to go, it'll only be toward the very end because we have something going on in the morning.
All right, so we might go ahead and post that just so Bill and I can be there.
If you post it, you are required to have minutes from that meeting. So if you're not planning on deliberating, I would advise against posting it and stay away from deliberations.
Okay, then we will take Jenny's
I was
advice.
just busy.
Perfect.
And the biggest announcement I think that I have is that we have an opening on advisory. Don Cole has announced that he is resigning at the end of his term, and we are incredibly grateful to him for all of the time he's put in on advisory. He's done a lot of hard work, and we really appreciate his service. So we will be looking for somebody to fill that spot. If you are interested, please email the town clerk. Just please be aware that you may not serve on advisory if you are currently sitting on any other board in Bolton. This is a great position for somebody who has a financial background. Although it's not necessary, it certainly is helpful, financial or budgeting background. So thanks once again to Don Cole. Does anybody else have any public service announcements?
I do not.
I didn't know that about Don, but I join you in thanking him for his service.
Okay, any requested future agenda items
None
or
for me.
select board reports?
I had one question about a future item I had mentioned, and this isn't at all to suggest we need to fast track it, but just to get a sense of when we think we might be able to get some data on the Rotary and traffic incidents and safety and stuff like that. And if the chief tells you or us, like, let's wait at least a year, that's totally fine. I just would like to know.
Okay, I'll get an answer from that.
Thanks.
Okay. Select board reports? No. Okay, the next item on our agenda is the lease between the town of Bolton and Bolton Conservation Trust for fiscal year 2027. And Bill, do I understand correctly that you are going to need to recuse yourself from this?
Correct.
Okay, so Jenny, do you want to move Bill into the waiting room while Brian and I deliberate on this? Oh, there he went. Okay, Marie, do you want to walk us through this, or, I mean, it's the same lease from last year, right?
It's the same lease from last year. The same parameters with the notable change is the expiration of June 30th, 2028. Payment $1,040.
Yeah. Brian, do you have any questions or comments on it? The only comment that I had made to Marie is that we should probably be sensitive next year to whether we should include a termination of the lease provision in the event that the town decides to sell the Houghton building. I don't think it's an issue for this year because I certainly can't envision it being sold in 12 months if that's even a recommendation. But I just think we should have it on our radar for future years. So if there are no other comments, is there a motion to execute the lease between the town of Bolton and the Bolton Conservation Trust for fiscal year 2027?
So moved.
And I will second it. Roll call. Brian?
Yes.
And I am also a yes.
We can let Bill back in.
Well, maybe.
Okay.
What do you think, Jenny?
Oh, there he is.
Okay, let's all stop talking about Bill now. The next item on the agenda is to the town building task force discussion and possible appointments. One thing that Marie and Jenny both brought to my attention today is when we did the charge for the commission, we had listed having an advisory member on the task force, but an advisory member cannot serve on both advisory and a task force. So I think we left ourselves, sorry, I have a mosquito. I think we left ourselves some wiggle room in the charge. We didn't formally limit ourselves to how the task force would be comprised. But I think we could also, since we know we cannot actually have an advisory member, that it might make sense to amend the composition to indicate that we would be looking for somebody with a financial background instead of advisory. You guys have any thoughts on that?
I think that makes sense, but I'm wondering just structurally. I'm looking at the composition section right now. If we would just strike the line that says one advisory committee representative and then change it to 7 at-large community members and then add a bullet around financial expertise specifically, and then that kind of covers it.
Yeah, I think that makes good sense, but I'd certainly be interested in definitely having a focus on somebody with a financial outlook. So that being said, is everybody comfortable voting on an amendment to the charge for the building task force?
Well, before we do that, I guess there's one other potential amendment. I don't know whether we want to put it in the charge itself or somewhere else, but we may just want to specify the meeting at which we anticipate making the appointments, because it probably would end up being our June 18th.
Well, I was actually going to talk about that a little bit
Oh, okay.
next. Well, we can have this discussion, then we can talk about what to amend. So we have interests. We've received statements of interest from really 9 people. We've received a statement of interest from somebody who's on the historical commission, and they're entitled to a representative. So I think we have 9 individuals who have expressed interest, which is more than the 6 or 7 at-large community members that we would be looking for. So I was going to suggest that we do something similar to what we did for the police chief search. Not necessarily to do an in-person interview, but to do an off-cycle Zoom meeting to interview the people and find out what their strengths are, what their thoughts are in terms of how they're approaching it, and then make the appointments at that meeting, the way we did with the police chief search committee.
So I would be comfortable with that, but I think we need to somewhere communicate when we're no longer accepting statements of interest.
Right. So I think if we're in agreement that we would do an off-cycle meeting for appointments, then we could look at the date that we would set for that and then work however many days backwards from that to set a formal deadline.
Okay.
I mean, I think the sooner that we can get people appointed, the better. Brian?
I just remind you that there was a date set as a deadline in the last meeting, and that was May 25th. The challenge was that there was no newspaper last week, so it didn't go out as broadly as you would have liked it to.
Yeah. Well, and I had also published it out to Facebook, to the community group, and I think we got a couple of other statements of interest after that. So, our next regularly scheduled meeting is June 18th. How does the board feel about a meeting, I don't know, during the week of June 8th? A Zoom meeting to do interviews and appointments? Do people have availability or no?
I am available. I could do that.
I could do Thursday the 11th. I'm traveling earlier in the week.
Okay, could we do a 7 o'clock Zoom?
Yeah, just one note. I think that overlaps with the Puzzle Palooza if we had contemplated doing that. I mean,
Defend our title.
Defend our sixth place. Um, I mean, I would like to do Puzzle Palooza, but I think that this might take priority over that.
that's fine. I mean, we could consider meeting earlier, but I'm fine doing whatever you all would be.
And I don't know what time Puzzle Palooza is. I don't know if that starts at 6 or 7, to be honest. But let's go ahead and set a meeting for June 11th at 7. And let's invite all of the people who have expressed interest. And does the board have an issue with extending to June 1st, a final deadline for all statements of interest and no other people to be considered after that?
I don't mind extending to June 8th.
Okay.
Just because today's the 28th.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, that's fine with me. I mean, my interest in this is to get the broadest range of people who are interested and the greatest number so that we can try and constitute this task force kind of to maximize their effectiveness. So I would be okay with June 8th. So Brian, does that address your concern in terms of timing? Do you
Yep.
think we need to do you think we need to amend the charge to deal with that, or?
No. So we should just do the other amendment that we discussed.
Okay, so is there a motion to amend the charge for the building task force composition to strike out the bullet point for one advisory committee representative and to add a seventh at-large community member with a bullet point for financial or budgeting background?
So
Second.
Okay, roll call. Brian,
yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. All right, I think that's great. Sorry, I'm going back up to the agenda. All right, our next agenda item is the easement with Mr. Chiodo. That is going to be pushed to our next meeting because it still has not been signed by Mr. Chiodo. So we will put that for our June 18th meeting. And next up is another very happy, feel-good agenda item, which is consideration of the approval of 3 letters of commendation for our Bolton Eagle Scouts. Each of these 3 Eagle Scouts has done a significant service to the community and has done a meaningful project that is of substantial value to the town of Bolton. The first one under consideration is James Schneider, who designed and erected a bike repair kiosk at the Rattlesnake Trailhead. The second is Nick Ciano, who designed, built, and distributed Mason bee houses to our community and also engaged in community education. And third is Abram Ambrose, who constructed a boardwalk along Boulder Trail where there was a persistent wetland crossing. With respect to all 3 of these young men, their service to Bolton, and in particular, the thoughtfulness of each of their projects and how well it fits in to the fabric of Bolton and furthers the community goals of Bolton, I think is just really impressive. Their deep and meaningful and lasting impacts on Bolton. And I, for one, would like to thank all of them for their projects and for their dedication to Bolton, and wish them the best in their future endeavors, which I'm sure will all be amazing. So any comments from the other members of the board?
I echo your sentiment, Kate. These are three great projects and really impressive. I've seen a couple of them and they did a great job on the projects.
Yep, I agree. And Kate, I thought your letters were really well done, and I appreciate you putting, or whoever was involved in putting them together. Thank you. Thank you to whoever did that.
That Jenny was the laboring oar.
Thank you, Jenny.
So is there a motion to approve this Eagle Scout commendation letters for James Schneider, Nick Ciano, and Abram Ambrose?
So moved.
Second that.
Roll call. Brian,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. The last major item on our agenda is I wanted to have a discussion about the process that we use for the town administrator review, because that's going to be coming up in June/July. And there are a couple of things that I wanted to talk with the board about maybe doing differently this year. The first thing that I'd like to talk about is maybe asking for department heads to provide confidential reviews of Marie. Just when I was looking back through the review form for last year, there was a section that I really wasn't able to fill out well, because it was asking really about how Marie interacted with other workers in the town. And I didn't have a great amount of feedback from that. And I thought that getting some feedback from the department heads would aid us maybe in being able to do a more comprehensive review. The process that I would suggest is to designate which department heads we think that reviews should go to. They should be able to do it anonymously, similarly to the way that we had done an anonymous survey to the members of the police department when we were looking for a police chief. So they were able to submit anonymous surveys, and we were able to review the results of that and use that in the police chief search. So the anonymous comments would go to Jenny, and she would be able to send those to the other board members so that we could consider them when we're filling out our review forms. So what are people's general thoughts on that?
I think it makes sense. I mean, in other settings, I've done similar things. I guess I would just want to make sure that whatever the technology we were using for people to submit was, appropriate, so that people felt like they could be candid. It wasn't going to be, traceable.
Right. And I've also talked with Marie about this so that this isn't a surprise to her, just so everybody knows. And, Marie was the one who pointed out that we had done that process with the police chief search, where the police department members were able to submit completely anonymous feedback. And I think that worked pretty well. I thought we got a good range of comments from people that way.
Would we send this out to all department heads, or would we?
I mean, I think we can talk about how that should work. The one thing that I would point out is that in order for it not to become a public record, because I think this should be a personnel record for Marie, we would not be sending it out to elected officials. It should be employee department heads, because
Okay.
if it's done by elected officials, then, or members of boards or commissions, then that could become a public record. And my goal in that is not to, kind of open this up that way. This should be like other personnel matters in town.
No, that makes sense. I just was curious why you had mentioned some department heads.
Yeah, and we don't have to make a full decision tonight. I wanted to just have a discussion to see if everybody was on the same page with me or not. And then I would undertake to draft some proposals for our next meeting. But I'd be curious as to both of your thoughts in terms of which department heads or all department heads. And you don't have to let me know tonight, but maybe for conversation at our next meeting.
Well, I think that if we're going to be sending it out, as long as it doesn't trigger open meeting or public record, then I think it needs to be fair, it needs to go to all department heads that would not be the case.
Okay, so I will work on a list for our next meeting of the department heads that it would go to. My thought would be that once we set a deadline for the three of us to prepare our individual reviews, we would ask for the department heads to submit theirs 1 week prior to that, so that we have a week to digest and look through individually their comments.
Sounds good.
Okay, the next thing that I wanted to talk about, and also I've talked with Marie about this, is asking Marie to do a self-evaluation, basically along the same lines of the ones that we do. Just to get her benchmarks as to, how she feels she's doing. Any comments or concerns on that?
I think
No,
that's
I think that's a good-
Anonymously, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Just
Okay.
dissociate for a few hours, Marie, and see what pops out of that head.
Stop the coffee, see.
Okay. And then I just wanted to make sure that we were on the same page with regard to how our review process would work. There's a general review form that we used last year and that I assume was used in prior years. I haven't had time to sit down and really go through it to see if there's anything that I'd like to revise on it, but the general idea would be that the three of us prepare our reviews, send them to Jenny, who will prepare a composite of all of that feedback. The composite would be sent to me as chair, and I would prepare an executive summary, which would be shared and discussed with the board at the meeting where we review Marie. And that executive summary is what will become a public record because it would be used in the select board's review. So that's the process as I understand it, and just want to make sure that that makes sense and there's no concerns from anybody on that.
No, that sounds right. Circling back to the evaluations that would be performed or submitted either by us or by department heads, one thing that I just want us to consider, and the reason this came up is because it's actually something I know some employers have had to specify, is that when it comes to personnel and HR related stuff, that people not use AI tools to generate the content. And I think I would like to include a specification that if we're getting feedback from department heads, that it be written by them, not like ChatGPT.
Mhm.
I think that's an excellent suggestion, and I can incorporate that into the draft department head review form that I will prepare and circulate for the next meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments on the review process? Marie, does that all make
That all
sense to
seems
you?
fine.
Okay. All right. next up, is there a motion to approve bills and payroll warrants W 26-24?
Sorry, Kate, in the agenda that I have, there was a bullet about reviewing select board FY26 goals.
Oh, I'm sorry. I completely skipped over that. And that was probably Freudian. I am going to push that to our next meeting because I am not prepared to discuss that tonight.
Well, on that point though, Kate, is there since I was not at the last meeting, is there anything that you would like me and Bill to also be doing in preparation for June 18th?
I think that we should just all be looking at, I know in our meeting materials tonight, there was the grid that has all of the responsible partners. It would be helpful if all of us went through that in advance of the next meeting. Just to specifically look for things that are the short-term and immediate goals for the select board, to see how we're doing on those. There are a whole bunch of 5-year plus items that, I'm not sure we really need to be focusing on, but my goal is to make sure that we are hitting our target for our goals this year, one of which was to make sure that we're marching through our master plan obligations.
Okay.
Okay, but the rest of that discussion will be on June 18th. So next up is motion to approve bills and payroll warrants W 26-24. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second that.
Roll call, Brian,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. And then our final agenda item is everybody's favorite minutes. We have 2 sets that are up. Jenny, I don't know if anybody had any comments on the April 30th. I know that's one I did not have any comments on.
I received no changes.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the April 30th, 2026 minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Bill,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. And lastly, the May 14th minutes. And I did have one change on those. This is where Jenny tried to have us adjourn in the middle of the meeting.
That was my Freudian night.
So is there a motion to approve the May 14th, 2026 minutes as revised?
So moved.
I have to abstain.
Oh, okay. Roll call, Bill,
Yes.
Brian,
Abstain.
and I am also a yes. I forgot you weren't there.
Well, that makes me feel good. Hey, before we adjourn, actually, there was something related to the Eagle Scout letters. I have a vague memory of like us having gotten an email talking about when there's going to be the Eagle Scout ceremony. I
Yes.
feel like it came into our town email, but when I was searching for it, I can't find it. And I just wanted to see whether anybody here knows what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking
Me.
about, but
Yeah.
I don't know the date off the top of my head.
I can look it up if you give me just a sec.
Because I think it's before our next select board meeting. I think it's like the 13th or something.
Yes. Yes.
If you are able to find it, could you resend it
Yeah,
to us?
why don't I just resend it? Because I forgot how many correspondences I had
Oh.
about Eagle Scouts in the last week.
Hold on, I've got it. They request the honor of your presence on Saturday, June 6th at 2 p.m. at Davis Hall. So it would be easy to stop in during Backyard Bolton.
If anyone is planning to attend, feel free to take the hard copies of the letters and present them there rather than my putting them in the mail.
Hmm.
So let me know before,
And
sooner
Jenny,
than later.
if you wouldn't mind resending it to me, because I actually think I may be having an issue with my town email, because that seems
Sure.
to have totally disappeared.
It was an email from Jenny, if that helps. I will go in person at 2 o'clock on the 6th.
So as you are the only signatory on the letters, when you sign them, just take them. I'll get some envelopes for them today.
Okay, sounds good.
Great.
All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second that.
Okay, roll call. Brian,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and I am also yes. Good night, everybody.